Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today I'm here in my closet once again talking about something that a lot of you have had questions about. Now, these questions all have to do with the green thing, the green monster that appears in every single video, who is sort of the profile picture for the channel. Who is this weird green monster thing that appears at the beginning of videos with static eyes and static background? Who is that? What is that? What is going on? What is this thing? Give me the answers, damn it! But this is a character that is very dear to my heart now, actually, if I think about it. This character, I'm going to be telling you the full story of this character and sort of the whole thing about it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you up front. I'm not 100% sure why I made him the mascot of the channel. I don't know why I made him the profile picture of the channel or why he's the intro of the channel, but he is, and that's that. Now, I want to tell you about the story, though, so please stick around so you can get all the details of who Raz is and what's going on with that. Disclaimer, though, real quick, Raz is not from something kid-friendly, kid-related, so don't give me any of that shit, okay? Anyway, he is a cartoon, though. So Raz was inspired by a TV show. I believe it was called Grogar the Unsatiable or something like that. I believe the title of the show was. I may put up a screenshot of some image from the show or something. Hopefully I can find it. There's not really a whole lot from the show anymore, but this show was something that appeared on, I don't remember what station it appeared on, but it appeared on TV one day, and I saw the title and I was like, oh my god, that sounds like an interesting title. Let me watch it. I watched it and I loved it. I loved it. The pilot was so good. I loved it. It was so refreshing to see something like this, because I really hadn't seen any kind of like dark or horror themed cartoons or anything in a really long time. And this one was like an adult oriented cartoon. You know, obviously, it's probably not obvious from seeing whatever I've shown you, but it's an adult related cartoon, and it's good. It's a really good show, and it just kind of ended. It just kind of ended out of nowhere. I don't know what happened. It's finished its season, and I think it didn't even finish its season. I think it had like 5 episodes, and it was just gone. It was gone off the face of the earth, never to be seen again, never a new episode. To this day, I can't find any new things from it. I can't find anything that maybe I've missed over the years or anything, but it's just gone. That really upset me, you know, and I said to myself, you know, that really sucks. That was a good show. You know what? Why don't I make an adult cartoon? Now, making a cartoon was something that I've always wanted to do. It's been like a passion of mine since I was like 11 or 12 or something, maybe even younger than then. I've always wanted to make a cartoon, and I've had characters before. I've had Larry before. He was actually my first cartoon character, and maybe if you want to see a video about Larry, let me know in the comments. But Larry was my first cartoon. He was like a comic and everything, and I never really like went full into like, hey, full on story, here's a script and everything. I never did anything like that because honestly, I never wrote a script before, and the most I've ever written was just like a book or something. I've written books before, and I said, you know what? Why don't I make a cartoon, design the character, write a script for it, and just see what happens. See if I can do something with it someday. Maybe I can get into animating, and this is when I started animating weird, small, like, things. Maybe I'll put up something on screen. I don't know. But I started animating small things like this, and I was like, okay, maybe if I get good enough at animating, I can, you know, work on the script myself, or maybe if I get popular enough on YouTube or something like that, I can fund it through Patreon or some other revenue source and be able to develop a cartoon. You know, that was something that I wanted to do. Now, Raz was the first character that I drew. I said to myself, I sat down, I opened up my tablet, opened up Ibis Paint X, by the way, really amazing art software if you're ever interested in one. It's free, by the way. But I said to myself, I want to make a cartoon, so I literally started drawing, and then something like happened to my arm, and it just kind of made the shape of Raz by itself almost. It's kind of weird. It's hard to explain, but it was like it was done by accident, but at the same time it wasn't done by accident. It was almost like, hey, draw this shape. You're drawing this shape now just because. Like, it just kind of happened. So I drew Raz's shape. He didn't have a backpack or anything like that. You probably didn't know he was supposed to have a backpack, but Raz has a backpack. He didn't have a backpack or anything like that. He was just his shape. He didn't even have horns. I said, okay, this is interesting, you know, and I was like, I want to give him horns because that will kind of fall into the fact that this is clearly some form of monster, and it kind of is part of the inspiration from, you know, Grogar the Insatiable. I'm really hoping I'm saying that right. I feel like I'm not. But that's, he has horns because Grogar had horns. Is it Grogar? It's not Grogar. I know it's not, because that's from My Little Pony. I know it's not. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's from, but the character they had, it had horns, so I was like, oh, I want to integrate that into my character, because that's where this inspiration for this, whatever this cartoon becomes, is coming from. So I gave it horns, and I said, okay, big eyes, let's do big eyes, because the head was rather large, and I gave it a really kind of like messed up like teeth and everything like that, and I kind of just went from there and made the character. And then I said to myself, what can I do to add to this character? I gave it spikes on its back, and I was like, you know, it was actually originally like this weird curved thing that didn't really make any sense. I think it was meant to be like a wing or something, because what I did was, when I made the character, I said, okay, why don't I just make it float for absolutely no reason? So I said, okay, the character floats for absolutely no reason. 1 foot off the ground at all times, they just float for no fucking reason. So that's what I did, and I was like, okay, maybe I should give it a reason, so I gave it a wing, but it was like a weird curved wing thing. It didn't look that good, and I think it was originally meant to be like dinosaur like bumps. It wasn't originally meant to be wings, but maybe that's what I was thinking when I made it. I don't know. But that's what this design was. And I said to myself, okay, what can I change about it? I need to change it, because obviously the first design isn't going to be the perfect design. So I eventually gave it the spiked back, you know, and I kept changing things on its back, you know. And that was really all I ever ended up changing, was the back. My brother came over one day, and he saw what I was working on. He said, what is this character? Why does it have what is this thing on its back? And I said, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. And he said, well, it kind of looked like a backpack. And I said, you know what? Why don't I give him a backpack for no fucking reason? He is already floating for no fucking reason. Why don't I give him a backpack for no fucking reason? So that's what I did. I gave him a backpack, and that was him. That was Raz. That was his design process. He was done. Eventually, I made 2 more characters. I made a human and I made an alien. Now, once I made those 2 characters, I said to myself, okay, is this a world where this guy just kind of stumbles across a bunch of different monsters and stuff? What's going on? And I said to myself, why don't I just make it a very awkward encounter? So I said to myself, okay, the human just stumbles across a monster, and then when he's freaking out, an alien comes down, and he freaks out even more, and then they all become friends. That was the original premise of it. Like, okay, an alien, a human, and a monster all meet up in a park somewhere, and things ensue from there. Misadventures ensue from there. That was the original premise of the show, the original premise of the idea, and I just worked on it from there. I eventually made more characters, eventually like structured their town to some degree. I don't really have any kind of layout of it, anything like that, but I kind of have an idea of what I want the town to be like. I have a name for the town, a name for some of the locations. There's like multiple locations, you know. I have a lot figured out for the show. I even like wrote like half of the show Bible. He was a monster, so I said, okay, so where does he come from? You know, where does the alien come from? That's obvious. He obviously comes from space. I said to myself, the monster. It has to be a sewer monster, because that's the only place it makes sense, right? He's all green. He kind of looks similar to like a lizard or like an alligator of some kind, so maybe it makes sense for him to be in the sewers. So let's do that. Let's put him in the sewers, but let's not make him the only monster. Let's make him an entire species. So that's what I did. I made an entire like sewer-based monster society. It's not really a society. It's pretty shitty, but it's a group. They have a king and everything like that, and I said to myself, there has to be a reason for both of them to come down to Earth at the same time. Raz it gets sent to the surface for some reason. So the king does this whole speech, you know, saying, oh, we're tired of living in the sewers, it's time to take over the surface world or something like that. And then Raz, being different from the sewer monsters, which are all like aggressive, mean, filthy, they're vulgar. They're just, think of like the definition of like a bad person, and they're a monster. That's the sewer people, basically. Now, out of all these people, there's one that is different, and that's Raz. Raz is different. He's not, you know, aggressive or mean or tough or anything like that. He's different, let's say that. He's more kind, and that's not normal for his people. So this king is saying, let's invade the surface world and take it over, and Raz is like, but people live up there, and someone like attacks him for being that way, and he is like, no, I'm just saying, we should do a recon mission. I volunteered to do a recon mission of the surface world before we invade. And so the king is like, a recon mission, that's actually a good idea. Meanwhile, in space, or wherever it ends up being, I imagine it would be space, the alien is also being sent to Earth for the same reason. This time he didn't volunteer. The alien overlord is like, hey, you are going to do a recon mission of Earth and give us all your information, and give us the information of what you find and discover. So he gets sent to Earth from his spaceship. At the same time, Raz is coming out of the sewers for his recon mission. So we have two different creatures coming to the surface at the same time for a recon mission. And in the middle is the human character, Sean. Sean, you've probably seen him before as well. Sean, the purple hair, he is, he's there in the middle of it. He's just walking in the park at night, and then the sewer person comes out of the sewer, and the alien beams down to Earth at the same time. He freaks out, and they end up he ends up putting him in his house and hiding him in his bedroom, and that's kind of the where the story kind of starts. That's kind of the idea of the pilot and everything like that. I feel like I've told more than what I probably should, but that's the idea. Raz is a sewer person, and he's a monster. He's meant to be from an adult-themed cartoon. There was going to be some very harsh language, stuff like that. Like, Raz gets called very bad names for, sticking up for the humans, obviously. There was going to actually be blood and stuff like that, too. So I wasn't just gonna like hold back, like, oh no, there can't be gore. No, I was gonna be like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want with this. It's not a kid cartoon, it's an adult cartoon, so I may as well do whatever I want with it. And that's what I did. I kind of went with that. Over the years, I kind of wrote one or two comics that are small that don't really have anything to do with the story, or maybe something that I could do with the story later on. I did stuff where like I like fused Raz and Sean together. I did different things like that. And then there was one comic where I said, never let a sewer person watch TV. And it was Raz, and he was standing in front of a purple background, and his eyes were just like all static, and that's what's supposed to happen with sewer people when they watch TV, or at least with Raz. If they watch TV for too long, their eyes like turn into static, and they just like lose all functionality, and they have to be like basically snapped back into reality, so to speak. And that was going to be the premise of an entire episode, where this happens to Raz, and Sean has to figure out what's going on and everything like that, and try and help him, and eventually he helps him when the episode ends. But that was the premise of an episode that I kind of just made one panel of a comic, and that's where the intro comes from. That's where the intro of my channel comes from. It is basically an animated version of that single comic panel. Never let a sewer person watch TV. Let them watch YouTube instead. But that's going to do it for the video, I guess. That's pretty much the story of Raz. If you're interested in any of the other characters or anything like that, I do have a website where you can find more information about the story. The story, by the way, is called New Hope, because that's the town they live in, and the monsters need New Hope, the alien needs a New Hope, and the human just has no hope at all. That's kind of the premise of it. So the story is called New Hope, and everything. If you're very curious of it, you can go to the link in the description. There's a link to my website. You can go there. You can find more information about sewer people, more information about the story overall. Again, I will say it's an adult-oriented cartoon, so some of it may offend you. If you're offended easily, just give it a miss. I don't care. Anyway, that's going to do it for the video. Please leave a comment what your favorite part of the whole like Raz story was, or if you like Raz or if you dislike Raz, let me know in the comments as well. Anyway, like I said, that's going to do it for the video, so thank you for watching however you watched, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this, but that's not all you get. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think that's what we all want. We all want to become wonderful, right? Anyway, like I said, thanks for watching. Stay wonderful.